whether you can spend the night in Amritsar or not. This is not an atmosphere in which the kind of dream that I completely share with you can be realized.
From what I know, Government of India has attached always a great deal of importance to people contacts, and as part of that process of trade, normalization of trade and economic relations, we took that important step of revising the visa agreement, the liberalized visa agreement. I must tell you, the last visa agreement was signed in '74. And so it was after 38 years that it was revised for the first time. It introduced a number of new provisions, not only for businessmen. I talked of one-year multiple entry visa, but it introduced a number of provisions for ordinary people also. A larger number of cities, police report exempted in the case of a larger number of categories and so on. Visa for spouses of citizens on both sides, which was very difficult. So a much longer duration multiple entry visa is given now. That was done, and I must say that, there are, I'm not talking of flights here, but in terms of the train service, the bus services and so on, a number of means are available. Now, it's not my case here that it's a normal situation as it must exist between two countries. All that I can say is that some work has been done, important work has been done, but it's work in progress, which must continue.
Well, Mr. Sabharwal, you've had a longish stint in Pakistan and has had the opportunity to interact with most businessmen, small and large. And I think trade in Pakistan at the moment, trade with Pakistan, India and Pakistan better, is now getting affected by not the normal outside influences like LOC, etc. These seem to be happening every now and then. But things now like water, that is being raised substantially many times more. And that is finding its way into the papers, into media, talks, etc. I'd like to hear your views on that subject, sir.
Well, I think I had a chance to speak on that issue on many occasions when I was in Pakistan, and I expressed my personal views today. I spoke on this issue in April 2010 in Karachi. And there is a long speech that I made there, which covered all aspects of what we believe, is happening. And that I think is available probably on our High Commission's website, or I could give my email to you. I have a copy. I could send it across to you. But basically, it was my belief that there was a good deal of misinformation. It's an important issue because water is a vital commodity for all human beings. So therefore, there could be concerns from time to time. But equally, because it's a precious commodity, debate on it, I thought, should be informed by well-argued and well-informed questions. And it was my impression that there was a good deal of misinformation on that issue. The basic point is this. That we have a treaty between us, which has worked very well for the last 50 plus years. And if there are any apprehensions or any grievances under that treaty, there is a mechanism within that treaty that has been provided for. And Pakistan went twice, once to a neutral expert on Baglihar and the second to a court of arbitration on the Kishanganga project. We didn't run away. India didn't run away from its obligations under the treaty. We stood by our obligations. We have gone through those cases, etc., etc. That mechanism is there. The other, I always thought, was an issue of trust. Any treaty, when you apply any treaty, there has to be a degree of trust. No providential power is going to come down to the earth to apply that treaty for us. This is to be applied by the two countries. And there was lack of trust in some cases, I noticed, where we were willing to give a commitment in a particular case, but people said, "What if you don't do that?" etc., etc. That I believe will grow with the passage of time, and that would resolve some of the issues. But to see the detailed position which I had explained then, it was in April 2010. I could send that speech to you if you wish. But I must also add, because number of Pakistan friends from Pakistan are here, it's been stated more than once by our leadership when I was in Pakistan also, that India had no intention whatsoever to use water as an instrument of any sort in its relationship with Pakistan.
Trade is happening, right? Now, why can't this trade go through directly from the Wagah border? It's one of the questions many people are assembled here to answer that, right? The question main here is, are there forces in Pakistan as well as in India who really don't want this to happen, and what are the reasons? And if you can maybe some comments on what really happened in right now in the Kashmir border, where around 100 crores worth of brown sugar was captured, and again there is a standoff which is still continuing. If you can please say a few words on that. Thanks.
I'm not, as you can imagine, in a position to comment on some recent incidents that you're referring to. The question of country trade via third countries, for me, I thought it was simply because there were restrictions, and Zafar Mahmood may have a different point of view, because there were restrictions from the Pakistani side on imports from India. So if you have those restrictions, but there is price advantage, then people would find some way or the other. Our official trade when I was in Pakistan was mostly around $2 billion, but businessmen told me, we didn't know, because for us those items go to those third countries. But my business friends in Pakistan told me that there could be as much or a little more trade worth about $3 billion going on through third countries. And the reason was very simple. You had those restrictions, some of which are there even today, and there was price advantage. People were keen to get machinery and other goods, etc., from India, and probably that's what was leading to it. And it's my hope that as those restrictions go down, trade would start flowing directly between the two countries, and including through Wagah. But
Sir, to supplement the answer, I would say that there were various reasons for this unhealthy practice. Number one, there was a lobby which was benefiting from Afghanistan-Pakistan transit trade arrangement, and this was applied to avoid the import duties and taxes. Things from India would go to Dubai, and from Dubai they would be shipped to Afghanistan, but they would lose their way on the on the way, and find itself, those commodities would end up in the Jodia Bazaar of Karachi. So this was one thing which was happening. Second thing was that Pakistan and India, when they started normalization of trade, they started with positive list, and Pakistan's positive list was 1,946 items when I took over as Secretary Commerce. And there were many items which were not included in the positive list. And people were enjoying the protection against imports from India. But there was a very well-oiled mechanism available in Karachi which would get you all the Indian goods via Dubai. And all those items which are still not on the positive list, or they are on the negative list, they are still finding their way into the Pakistan market. But hopefully within few months or maybe weeks, this would become a thing of the past. Hopefully this non-discriminatory access would be given in due course of time. Thank you.
Is the trust deficit, and which has been created by certain security
This is the last
concerns.
question, please.
I'm just repeating a follow-on. Is the trust deficit largely due to the security consideration, especially the security agencies from both the sides playing a major role in this problem?
Yes, I think because here the forum, career forum is only for international economic relationship. But believe me, I mean, there's a wider issue. Wider issue is, and Mr. Sharad Sabharwal would appreciate what I'm saying, that Pakistan, India, whenever they have started the dialogue process has been a composite dialogue process in which all issues are to be discussed. But fortunately or unfortunately, the emphasis from Indian side is only on the trade. Trade normalization is considered to be the end all. But I think in the days to come, when we will address other issues also, probably the trust deficit would go, because the trust deficit is adversely affecting economic relationship in more than one ways. I can write a book on this, how it is adversely affecting. You have talked about Iran, Pakistan, India pipeline project, and there are other projects also which are suffering because of the trust deficit.
Sir, I would like to just add one point here, very important point. I think it's not getting due importance. There is a new challenge which has been added to the already long list of challenges, which is in the shape of cross-LOC trade. If you take a deep look into it, number of items are being added into it every day, and we are not giving it the due importance. It is killing the formal trade again. Many items which have the potential to grow in size are not being grown, because that trade does have a volume constraint, because the number of trucks is restricted. But in a market, when you have a product coming from the same source at a cheaper price, it is not letting the higher volumes grow from the formal side, and many products have dried up rather coming from that side. So even if we have more trade relaxations, I think this route is a serious challenge to that.
Yes, I agree with you, because this is a special arrangement which is based on barter, and because barter is duty free, so therefore it is creating some kind of challenge. But although it is, not very large volumes, but it will, if it continues to grow that way, it will create challenges. I think there would be an option available to both countries to make it formalized.
Except that I must say my own experience that while traders in Lahore and other parts of Pakistan would sometimes complain about that arrangement, I was also aware of, conscious of the fact that it was very popular amongst the traders in that area.
Yes, it's a lot of people are shifting there, and what is happening is that, for example, I would cite an example. We were very hopeful of growing the volumes in textile imports from Pakistan. We did shipments, but ultimately they started clashing with the imports from that route. The volumes were low, but the people would not buy, because they were having competition from a same product coming into India from a different duty-free route and challenging the formal trade. It's not a small challenge. It's going to kill the initiatives which we are having in the shape of more trade liberalization. More number of items are also being added. I don't know who's found that ingenuity to add sarees into that, or things which are not even produced in Kashmir.
I think suffice it to say, your concerns are genuine. It was a very special measure in which there were only, I think, 21 items which was to be traded. But what is happening is that the people these products were supposed to be either made or grown in the respective parts of Kashmir. And it was a cross LOC trade on barter basis. But traders are traders. They would say that this thing was grown in Kashmir, although we all know that this is not grown in Kashmir. So bananas finding ways in Pakistan, and apples from which were imported from China, incidentally, were finding their way to. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please.